A social habit. Health of mind and body are the main reason why we should want to stop. But then, they always have been. We do not actually need scientific research and knowledge in brain chemistry to tell us that internet porn is addictive and can potentially shatter our lives. These bodies of ours are the most sophisticated objects on the planet, and any porn masturbation orgasmer knows instantly, from the first session, that the stimulus can go to excess, and it can turn poisonous. The only reason why we ever get involved with internet porn is the porn masturbation orgasmers overlap with their evolutionary brain programming. Porn is available for free, and it gets streamed 24 hours a day. No risk and no traces, and with very high brain rewards. Porn was once considered as harmless, but that was when the images were static and involved a trip to the local store for a VHS tape. Today, it is generally considered, even by porn masturbation orgasmers themselves, to be a supra-stimulus and addiction-forming. In the old days, the strong man did not admit he masturbated. Jerk is a derogatory term. In every pub or club bar, the majority of men would be proudly wanting to take a woman home and have real sex. Today, the position is completely reversed for the internet porn addicts. Today's man realizes that he is starting to feel that he doesn't need a woman. This scares him. He bands together online and starts discussing experiences, devise strategies, and explore options. Today's strong man does not want to depend on drugs. With the social revolution, all porn masturbation orgasmers nowadays are giving serious thought to stopping internet porn and masturbation. Today's porn masturbation orgasmers consider porn masturbation orgasm as an useless and harmful activity. The most significant trend that I have noticed in forums is the increasing emphasis on the antisocial aspect of porn masturbation orgasming. The days when a man boasted of having sex and orgasms every day is slowly getting replaced with, "Why do I need to be a slave for this porn monster when I know it is controlling my wand and mine?" The only reason why people continue to porn masturbate orgasm after getting educated is because they have failed to stop or are too frightened to try. There are even talks about no porn, no masturbation, and no orgasms, with or without partners. Coryza is discussed widely, and people are trying it out. Many aforementioned failures are fail-forwards, and thus somewhat benefiting the people who practice them. Once you start along the non-porn masturbation route, you will find your best fit that applies to your life. I strongly encourage devising your own plan on orgasms after understanding and practicing the separation of the amative and the propagative parts of sex. I am sure whichever route you take, you will see the value of preserving the seed by limiting the number of times you flush your brain with chemicals by orgasming. You will then never see porn, sex, and orgasms as a pleasure or as a crutch for your emotional ups and downs. I was reading a Reddit forum by non-porn masturbation orgasmers dedicated to quitting not only porn, but also masturbation. As I read along, I thought, this is good. I see so many have taken to quitting masturbation, and I think that this is the right way to quit porn masturbation. However, I found most of the notes pointing to them to try with the willpower method. There was a lot of self-pitying as well. Except a few, almost all were not feeling elated and not having the "yippee, I'm free from slavery" attitude. Eventually, someone broke down, as I unfortunately expected to happen. And the result was a domino effect. All those other porn masturbation orgasmers had been sitting there thinking, Surely I can't be the only porn masturbation orgasmer here. However, they were failing forward, albeit with a lot of self-torturing as they shut down their browsers, but did not shut down the desire and the need. This method is the reverse, as we shut down the desire and the need before shutting down the browser screen. As every day, more and more porn masturbation orgasmers leave the sinking ship, so those left on it become terrified they'll be the last. Don't let it be you. Timing. Apart from the obvious point that as it is doing you no good, now is the right time to stop, I believe timing is important. Our society treats internet porn flippantly, as a slightly distasteful habit that cannot injure your health. It is not. It is drug addiction, a disease and a destroyer of relationships in society. The worst thing that happens in most porn masturbation orgasmers' lives is getting hooked on that awful addiction. If they stay hooked, horrendous things happen. Timing is important to give yourself the right to a proper cure. First of all, identify the times or occasions when porn masturbation orgasm appears to be important to you. If you are a businessman and use it for the illusion of relief of stress, pick a relatively slack period. A good idea is to choose your annual holiday. If you porn masturbate orgasm mainly during boring or relaxing periods, weekends, etc., do the opposite. In any event, take the matter seriously and make the attempt the most important thing in your life. Look ahead for a period of about 3 weeks and try to anticipate any event that might lead to failure. Occasions like a conference trip, partner out of town, etc., need not deter you, providing you anticipate them in advance and do not feel you will be deprived. Do not attempt to cut down in the meantime, as this will only create the illusion that being denied is enjoyable. In fact, it helps to force yourself to watch and have as many porn masturbation orgasm sessions as possible. While you are having the last session and that last time, be conscious of the disappointment due to satiation, unfulfilled expectations. Porn can never satisfy you. Any bodily pain or pain in the genitals, the withdrawal effects, the peevishness and the melancholy. Think how marvelous it will be when you allow yourself to stop doing it. Whatever you do, don't fall into the trap of just saying, "Not now, later," and putting it out of your mind. Work out your timetable now and look forward to it. Remember, you aren't giving anything up. On the contrary, you are about to receive marvelous positive gains. For years, the medical profession viewed porn as harmless, without knowing the difference between the tame static porn of yesteryear and the latest VR streaming porn. The problem is this. Although every porn masturbation orgasmer uses internet porn purely to relieve the brain chemical craving for dopamine, it is not the addiction to the brain chemical itself that hooks the porn masturbation orgasmer, but the self-brainwashing that results from that addiction. An intelligent person will fall for a confidence trick, but only a fool will go on falling for it once he realizes that it's a confidence trick. Fortunately, most porn masturbation orgasmers aren't fools. They only think they are. Each individual porn masturbation orgasmer has his own private brainwashing. That is why there appears to be such a wide range of different types of porn masturbation orgasmers, which only serves to compound the mysteries. With the benefit of the original book that used this method to stop smoking, which dealt with nicotine addiction, one of the most quickest and addictive drugs known to man, and bearing in mind that the personal logs that I collected from Reddit, NoFap, and Your Brain on Porn blogs and forums, I was agreeably surprised to realize that the philosophy propounded in the original book was still sound. The accumulated knowledge that was acquired by the original author, Allen Carr, and by myself, the hack author, is how to communicate that knowledge to each individual porn masturbation orgasmer. The fact that I know every porn masturbation orgasmer can not only find it easy to stop, but can actually enjoy the process, is not only pointless, but exceedingly frustrating unless I can make the porn masturbation orgasmer realize it. The original author of the Quit Smoking book explains some controversial advice. Many people have said to me, "You say continue to smoke until you have finished the book. This tends to make the smoker take ages to read the book, or just not finish it, period. Therefore, you should change that instruction." This sounds logical, but I know that if the instruction were stop immediately, some smokers wouldn't even start reading the book. I had a smoker consult me in the early days. He said, "I really resent having to seek your help. I know I'm strong-willed. In every other area of my life, I'm in control. Why is it that all these other smokers are stopping by using their own willpower, yet I have to come to you?" He continued, "I think I could do it on my own if I could smoke while I was doing it." This may sound like a contradiction, but I know what the man meant. We think of stopping smoking as something that is very difficult to do. What do we need when we have something difficult to do? We need our little friend. So stopping smoking appears to be a double blow. Not only do we have a difficult task to perform, which is hard enough, but the crutch on which we normally rely on such occasions is no longer available. It didn't occur to me until long after the man had left that my instruction to keep smoking is the real beauty of my method. You can continue to smoke while you go through the process of stopping. You get rid of all your doubts and fears first. So when you extinguish that final cigarette, you are already a non-smoker and can enjoy being one. So this book on porn masturbation orgasm will also keep the same advice intact. No matter how much I say it will be easy, there will be a vast majority who will not be able to accept it due to their personal brainwashing on how difficult it is to quit. The only chapter that has caused me to question my original advice seriously is this chapter on the matter of the right timing. Above all, I advise that if your special occasions are stress situations at the office, then pick a holiday to make an attempt to give up, or vice versa. In fact, that isn't the easiest way to do it. The easiest way is to pick what you consider to be the most difficult time to do it, whether it be stress, social, concentration, or boredom. Once you've proved that you can cope with and enjoy life in the worst possible situations, every other situation becomes easy. But if I gave that as a definite instruction, would you even But if I gave that as a definite instruction, would you even make the attempt to stop? Let me use an analogy. My wife and I intend to swim together. We arrive at the pool at the same time, but we rarely swim together. The reason is that she immerses one toe, and half an hour later, she's actually swimming. I cannot stand that slow torture. I know in advance that at some stage, no matter how cold the water is, eventually I'm going to have to brave it. So I've learned to do it the easy way. I dive straight in. Now, assuming that I were in a position to insist that if she didn't dive straight in, she couldn't swim at all, I know that she wouldn't swim at all. Do you see the problem? From feedback, I know that many porn masturbation orgasmers have used the original advice I gave on timing to delay what they think will be the evil day. My next thoughts were to use the technique that I used for the chapter on the advantage of porn masturbation orgasming. Something like, timing is very important And in the next chapter, I will advise you about the best time for you to make the attempt. You turn the page over, and there is just a huge now. That is, in fact, the best advice. But would you take it? This is the most subtle aspect of the porn trap. When we have genuine stress in our lives, it's not the time to stop yet. If we have no stress in our lives, we have no desire to stop. Ask yourself these following questions. When you got porn the first time, did you really decide that you would continue to depend on it the rest of your life, every day, without ever being able to stop? Of course you didn't. 2. Are you going to continue the rest of your life every day without ever being able to stop? Of course you aren't. So when will you stop? Tomorrow? Next year? The year after? Isn't this what you've been asking yourself since you first realized you were hooked? Are you hoping that one morning you will wake up and just not want to porn masturbate orgasm anymore? Stop kidding yourself. I waited many awful years for it to happen to me. With any addiction, you get progressively more hooked, not less. You think it will be easier tomorrow. You're still kidding yourself. If you can't do it today, what makes you think it will be easier tomorrow? Are you going to wait until you've actually started to feel getting out of bed is harder than just masturbating? That would be a bit pointless. The real trap is the belief that now isn't the right time. It will always be easier tomorrow. We believe that we live stressful lives. In fact, we don't. We've taken most genuine stress out of our lives. When you leave your home, you don't live in fear of being attacked by wild animals. Most of us don't have to worry where our next meal is coming from or whether we'll have a roof over our head tonight. But just think of the life of a wild animal. Every time a rabbit comes out of its burrow, it is facing Vietnam the whole of its life. But the rabbit can handle it. It's got adrenaline and other hormones, and so have we. The truth is, the most stressful periods for any creature are early childhood and adolescence. But 3 billion years of natural selection have equipped us to cope with stress. Many people who have had hard childhoods grew up to lead normal lives. We are all able to cope with unkind people and the unpleasant parts of life. I don't believe any of my life adversities have left me with any permanent scars. On the contrary, I believe they have made me a stronger person. When I look back on my life, there has only been one thing that I couldn't handle, and that was my slavery to that damned internet porn. A few years ago, I thought I had all the worries in the world. I was suicidal, not in the sense that I would have jumped off a roof, but in the sense that I knew that this mental tug-of-war would soon kill me. I argued that if this was life with my crutch, life just wouldn't be worth living without it. What I didn't realize was that when you are physically and mentally depressed, everything gets you down. Now I feel like a young boy again. Only one thing made the change in my life. I'm now out of the porn pit. I know it's a cliche to say, if you haven't got your health, you've got nothing. But it's absolutely true. I used to think that physical fitness fanatics like Gary Player were a pain. I used to claim there's more to life than feeling fit. There's sex, booze, and tobacco. That's nonsense. When you feel physically and mentally strong, you can enjoy the heights and handle the lows. We confuse responsibility with stress. Responsibility becomes stressful only when you don't feel strong enough to handle it. The Richard Burtons of this world are physically and mentally strong. What destroys them is not the stresses of life or their jobs, or old age, but the lying crutches they turn to, which are just illusions. Sadly, In his case, and for millions like him, those lying crutches kill. Look at it this way. You've already decided that you are not going to stay in the trap the rest of your life. Therefore, at some time in your life, whether you find it easy or difficult, you will have to go through the process of getting free. Porn masturbation orgasming is not a habit or pleasure. It is a drug addiction and a disease. We've already established that far from being easier to stop tomorrow, it will get progressively harder. With a disease that's going to get progressively worse, the time to get rid of it is now, or as near to now as you can manage. Just think how quickly each week of our lives comes and goes. That's all it takes. Just think how nice it will be to enjoy the rest of your life without that ever-increasing black shadow hanging over you. And if you follow all my instructions, you won't even have to wait 5 days. You won't only find it easy after closing down your browser. You'll enjoy it. Will I miss the fun? No. Once that little porn monster is dead and your body stops craving dopamine and the porn water slides in your brain start to fade due to lack of greasing, any remaining brainwashing will vanish and you will find yourself both physically and mentally better equipped not only to cope with the stresses and strains of life, but to enjoy the good times to the full. There is only one danger, and that is the influence of those who still use sex as their lying crutch and damned pleasure. The other man's grass is always greener is commonplace in many aspects of our lives and is easily understandable. Why is it in the case of porn masturbation orgasming, where the disadvantages are so enormous as compared with even the illusory advantages, that the ex-porn masturbation orgasmer tend to envy the man or woman who appears to demand sex and use porn for pleasure and a crutch? With all the brainwashing of our childhood, it is quite understandable that we fall into the trap. Why is it that once we realize what a mug's game it is, and many of us manage to kick the habit, we walk straight back into the same trap? It is the influence of society's brainwashing of porn being conflated with sex and presented as normal. The ex-porn masturbation orgasmer has a pang, the insecure void feelings of them being single, which in itself is not a crime anyway, causes anxiety, and cues them to porn masturbate orgasm water slide. This is indeed a curious anomaly, particularly if you consider this piece of observation. Not only is every non-porn masturbation orgasmer in the world happy to be a non-porn masturbation orgasmer, but every porn masturbation orgasmer in the world, even with his warped, addicted, brainwashed mind, suffering the delusion that he enjoys it or it relaxes him, wishes he had never become hooked in the first place. So why do some ex-porn masturbation orgasmers envy the porn masturbation orgasmer on these occasions? There are 2 reasons. Number 1, just one peak. Remember, it doesn't exist. Stop seeing that isolated occasion and start looking at it from the point of view of the porn masturbation orgasmer. You may be envying him, but he doesn't approve of himself. He envies you. If only you could somehow watch, clinically, another porn masturbation orgasmer. They can be the most powerful boost of all to help you of it. Notice how quickly they open many tabs and many windows of their browsers. They fast forward to their important minutes. How quickly they get bored of some clips and how quickly they run through the gamut of genres, producing novelty, shock, anxiety, worry, etc. Notice particularly that not only is he or she not aware that he or she is porn masturbation orgasming, but even the act of masturbation appears to be automatic. Remember, he's not enjoying it. It's just that he cannot enjoy himself without it. Particularly remember that when he leaves to go to sleep after his visit, he is drained of energy. The next morning, When he wakes up with a weakened will, lost energy, blurry eyes, he is going to have to carry on choking himself at the first appearance of stress and strain. The next time he has a pain in the penis, the next erectile dysfunction episode, or a fading penetration when he is in the company of a non-porn masturbation orgasmer, he has to continue this lifetime chain of paying through the nose just for the privilege of destroying himself, physically and mentally. He is facing a lifetime of filth, bad mental health, stained confidence, a lifetime of slavery, a lifetime of destroying himself, a lifetime of black shadows at the back of his mind. And all of this is to achieve what purpose? The lying illusion of getting what you deserve, and the damned pleasure. 2. The second reason why some ex-porn masturbation orgasmers have pangs on these occasions is because the porn masturbation orgasmer is doing something, i.e. self-pleasuring, and the non-porn masturbation orgasmer is not. So he tends to feel deprived. Get it clear in your mind before you start. It is not the non-porn masturbation orgasmer who is being deprived. It is the poor porn masturbation orgasmer who is being deprived of health, energy, money, confidence, peace of mind, courage, tranquility, freedom, and self-respect. Get out of the habit of envying porn masturbation orgasmers and start seeing them as the miserable, pathetic creatures they really are. I should know. I was one of the world's worst. That is why you are reading this book. And the ones who cannot face up to it, who have to go on kidding themselves, are the most pathetic of all. You wouldn't envy a heroin addict. Like all drug addiction, yours won't get better. Each year, it will get worse and worse. If you don't enjoy being a porn masturbation orgasmer today, you'll enjoy it even less tomorrow. Don't envy other porn masturbation orgasmers. Pity them. Believe me, they need your pity. Can I compartmentalize? This is another myth about porn masturbation orgasming, spread mainly by porn masturbation orgasmers, who, when attempting to stop on the willpower method, substitute mental gymnastics. They propose to act Jekyll and Hyde. Porn is for my alter ego side, and real-life romance is for my relationship side. Nothing is further from the truth. The porn water slides, the Delta Force bees, and all the brain changes are going to overrun the real-life romance and will make it less desirable. Mr. Hyde is most definitely going to overrule Dr. Jekyll's instructions. If you use internet porn, you may be training yourself for the role of a voyeur, or to need the option of clicking to something more arousing at the least drop in your dopamine levels, or to search and search for just the right scene for maximum effect. Also, you may be masturbating in a hunched-over position or watching your smartphone in bed nightly. You will eventually desire those cues more than the real-life action. The thing that goes against real sex is the lack of novelty, variety, harem-like 24/7 quick delivery, etc. And so it stands no chance compared to your online harem. The younger you were when you started on porn masturbation orgasm, the longer to rewire and break down those porn water slides and get back those real water slides, if there were any from the past, or create new ones. Also, powerful and lasting are the associated memories from when you were young. Every time you take a ride on the porn water slide, you are greasing it, keeping the nerves fresh. When you park next to a fast food restaurant, the smell of the fries floats from the pan into your nostrils, and the sale was already made. Likewise, the porn water slides in your brain are there for you to get sucked in and they are open 24 hours a day. Each of these cues or triggers can now light up your reward circuit with the promise of sex. Only, it isn't sex. Nevertheless, nerve cells may solidify these associations with sexual arousal by sprouting new branches to strengthen the connections. The more you use porn, the stronger the nerve connections can become, with the result that you may ultimately need to be a voyeur, need to click to new material, need to climax to porn, to get to sleep, or need to search for the perfect ending just to get the job done. As with any substance or behavioral drug, after a while the body becomes immune, and the drug ceases to relieve the withdrawal pangs completely. As soon as we close a session, the addict wants another one very soon, and he has a permanent hunger. The natural inclination is eventually to escalate, just to get the dopamine rush. However, most porn masturbation orgasmers are prevented from doing this for one or both of two reasons. 1. Money. They cannot afford to subscribe to paid porn sites. 2. Health. There is only so much the body can take. Either the motivator dopamine surges or the orgasms. And orgasms actually trigger anti-dopamine chemicals to cut down the dopamine flush. It has to. That is the way the body works. Once that little monster leaves your body, the awful feeling of insecurity ends. Your confidence returns, together with a marvelous feeling of self-respect. You obtain the assurance to take control of your life, not only in your other habits, but also in all other ways. This is one of the many great advantages of being free from any addiction. As I have said, the compartment myth is due to one of many tricks that the little monster plays with your mind. In fact, these tricks do not make it easier to stop. They make it harder. The porn masturbation orgasmer is therefore left with a permanent hunger that he can never satisfy. This is why many porn masturbation orgasmers turn to cigarettes, heavy drinking, or even harder drugs in order to satisfy the void. I had suggested watching porn with one of my partners, but eventually I noticed it did not enhance my arousal at all. The sex was not better. I realized that it actually diminished my attraction towards her. We humans are rating animals. We always self-rate and other-rate. I am sure she rated me against the male porn star too. Why take chances? Do you want Brad Pitt in your bedroom, even if he is in a poster? No one man or woman can match a harem where each experience is acted, scripted, and directed by professionals, and at the ready 24 hours a day.